It is almost game day, Miami Dolphins fans. This upcoming Sunday, the Dolphins kick off their 2024 NFL season by hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. It is in Miami, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Dolphins are actually 3.5-point favorites in this ball game with the over-under set at 48.5. And on today's show, we are going to be doing a preview of today's game. We're going to look at the initial injury report for both sides, but also 4 keys to victory that I have so the Fins start the season with a solid 1-0 record. We'll start with the Dolphins injury report, and we're going to condense it here. If you look on my Twitter, which follow me at Nic_Rohloff, you would see the full injury report. But the only reason why I had these 5 on here is because the rest of the players that were labeled on that list were out due to rest. And if you miss any part of practice, you are legally required to be on the injury report, but I'm not going to talk about them because it is just a rest day, and they're going to be good to go for Sunday. But Jalen Ramsey is the main concern for the Miami Dolphins. He was a DNP with a hamstring injury. Mike McDaniel has not disclosed what Ramsey's injury was over the past couple weeks when he's been out of practice and out of training camp, but it is officially now a hamstring injury for Jalen Ramsey. Other injuries on there: Quentin Bell with a injury, he was limited. Aaron Brewer, center, limited with that hand injury. Malik Washington had a quad injury, which kept him limited. And then Benito Jones, who just returned to practice this week, knee injury, limited. So 5 guys on the injury report that actually are dealing with something and not just a rest day. Jalen Ramsey's the most concerning. After that, probably Aaron Brewer, but it does seem like he will be playing since he was only limited today. If it was a DNP, it would be a bigger story. Other side, Jacksonville. Lucky Jaguars, I'll tell you what. Only 1 player on their injury report, safety Daniel Thomas with an Achilles injury, although just limited, so looks like the Jags are going to be at full strength for this game on Sunday unless an injury pops up on Thursday's injury report. All right, don't jinx it, Dolphins fans. If you want the Dolphins to start the season with a win, you want them to be 1-0 next Monday, make sure you like today's video. I get a full list of people who have liked this video and who passed up the opportunity to like the video. I better see your name on the like list. I'm basically Santa Claus. All right, keys to victory. We'll start with this. Air that thing out, Tua. And Mike McDaniel, listen, this is one of the biggest keys for Miami. We know how good their offense is, how good their passing game was a year ago. But when you really think of how the Jacksonville Jaguars have been on the defensive side of the field, well, their secondary is the weakest part of their game. How about these statistics, folks? Miami has a 15-6 record when throwing for 250 or more yards in a game since 2022, which is 5th best in the NFL. So it's safe to say Miami throws for 250 plus, you're going to have a good chance to win the ball game if you're the Fins. Flip side, the Jaguars have allowed 239.1 yards per game through the air since 2022. That comes out to the 4th worst mark in football. And when you think of, obviously, the Dolphins wide receivers, who have the best duo in the NFL with Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and then you take a look at the cornerbacks for the Jaguars, it is clear to me that Miami has the clear upside here and the clear better group in this matchup. And we know that they're going to have the better group in almost every single matchup they have, but it's specific to this one. The 2 boundary corners listed as the starters for Jacksonville are Ronald Darby and Tyson Campbell, with nickel cornerback being Antonio Johnson. I just feel like Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle are going to be able to feast against these corners of Jacksonville. And I don't really think their safeties are that good. They're led by Andre Cisco back there. I just feel like a great game in the air is going to be coming. And I am very bullish on the running game for Miami. We've talked about that the entire offseason. But I just think this is an advantageous matchup for Tua, Tyreek, Jaylen Waddle. I think Mike McDaniel realizes that. I think Jacksonville fans are petrified of the Miami Dolphins passing attack coming this upcoming Sunday. I expect a big game for Tua through the air. I think we'll get to see his season start off on a hot note. Which leads me to this question, by the way. Will Tua throw for 300-plus yards in Week 1? Type Y for yes or type N for no. If I had to give my prediction, I think he will cross that 300-yard mark, which he did last year in Week 1 against the Los Angeles Chargers as well. So I'm typing my Ys. All right. Number 2, get ahead of the Jags early. And yes, this could be said for every single game into existence, but it is extremely important that you start good in the opening 15 minutes against Jacksonville, because when they start out fast, they are elite. Last season, when they led after the first quarter, they were 8-1. That is astounding mark for Jacksonville, that when they even just had a 1-point lead after 15 minutes, they closed out that football game. And this also is a good stat here. They like to get ahead because they like to run the football. And here's a fun stat. The Jaguars were 1-6 when rushing less than 25 times last season. That was tied for 8th worst in the NFL. So what does that tell you? Well, it tells you that they actually have a pretty good run game, and when they are able to lean on their run game, have Travis Etienne wear you down, burst in the fourth quarter, that's when they are able to win. But if they are trailing early, they fall behind, they're forced to throw the football and not just lean on Travis Etienne and run the run game, they struggle a little bit. They can't close out those games. It is night and day when you look at Jacksonville's record last season in comparison to when they were leading after one quarter and can run the football in the second half, compared to when they had to throw the football to try to get back into a football game. So if you're able to pounce on them early and make this guy right here, Trevor Lawrence, throw the football, it is not going to go well for Jacksonville. So if Miami's able to start early, get out in front, I think that's what's going to make an easier matchup for the Dolphins. And if Miami wins the toss in their opening game, I'll tell you what, I'm usually someone who likes to defer to the second half. I want the ball on Sunday. We win the toss, I want to accept it, and I want to go down and score a touchdown to open up this season. And if you want to go see this game in person, Game Time is the best place to do it. They have the best seats for the lowest price guaranteed. It's the only way I get my tickets because they have so many easy features to use. And a new one is called Game Time Picks. It actually makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They have a feature called All-In Pricing, which allows you to see the total number on that ticket price up front rather than having to get blindsided at checkout. No, Game Time's going to make sure you are covered. They also have seat views. So when you're in your venue, whether it's a comedy show, concert, it doesn't matter. You can just scope around and see exactly where your seat is going to be. It is the best way and easiest way to get your tickets. And when I went to LSU USC in Las Vegas this past weekend, you know for sure I used Game Time to get those tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, moving on here. Key to victory number 3. Dominate the line of scrimmage. And this kind of goes hand in hand with get out ahead early, if you will, because we showed that stat of how well the Jaguars do when they are out in front and they get to run the football 25 or more times a game, and when they don't. So if you take away their ability to beat you on the ground and you control the line of scrimmage on the defensive side and slow down Travis Etienne, who had 1,000 yards last season, it will put you in a better spot to win this football game. So I'm calling on Sack Sealer. I'm calling on Benito Jones. I'm calling on Calais Campbell to really set the tone, not even just for this game, but for the entire season. The Dolphins were really good against the run last season, actually. They had one of the best run defense in terms of yards allowed and yards per carry allowed, both being top 10 in those statistics. But that was also with Christian Wilkins, who got paid more than $25 million per season with the Las Vegas Raiders in free agency. So teams might try to test this Dolphins front early and often with no Wilkins. But if Calais Campbell and Zach Sealer and Benito Jones set the tone, stuff up Travis Etienne, allow Jacksonville to get nothing on the ground, it not only sends a message to them that they're going to have to throw the football to beat you, but it also sends a message to the rest of the NFL when they're watching tape on this Miami Dolphins team that says, hey man, yeah, they lost Christian Wilkins, but I still don't want to really mess with their run defense because it's still very, very good. I need these 3 to come to play and dominate the line of scrimmage, but you could also say that for the offensive football as well, as you're going up against really good front of Josh Hines-Allen, Eric Armstead, and Trayvon Walker. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we are going to have you covered on everything surrounding the Miami Dolphins. And we're also going to be live for that game this upcoming Sunday, Dolphins versus Jags watch party, live an hour before that game gets kicked off, so 12 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you join us for that. All right, last key to victory here. No freebies for Jacksonville. What do I mean by that? Well, you just can't give them yards. You can't give them opportunities. So this goes hand in hand of like not turning the ball over and the cliche like that. But when you think about playing a clean football game, not bailing them out, it is really, really important. And luckily for the Miami Dolphins, last season, they were really, really good at not giving opponents free opportunities and free plays, especially in the passing game, which is very important in this day and age to not get called for any big-time penalties. Last season, the Dolphins were just flagged 6 times on 10-yard or more things when it comes to the defense. So obviously holding is 10 yards. That won't count. But when it's specifically on the defense, only flagged 6 times. That is very good. It would actually rank inside the top 10 of the NFL in at least frequent penalties of 10-plus or more on that Dolphins defense. So as long as the secondary holds up, isn't holding, grabbing, pass interference, personal fouls, Dolphins will be just okay. All right, I'm going to give you my official score prediction coming up in just a second, but I want to hear yours first. Predict the score of Dolphins Jaguars. How is the season of 2024 going to kick off for Miami? Let me see your predictions. I'm going to go with a Dolphins win in good fashion. I actually think they win this game handedly. I really do. 34-17 Fins is my prediction. I just don't think the defense of Jacksonville is going to be able to slow down this Dolphins offense. I think Miami's going to get 28 points plus very easily. My prediction is actually 4 touchdowns and then 2 field goals from Jason Sanders. And if I really had to dive in here and become a sharp, I think Tua throws 3 touchdowns. One of them is going to be a pass to Devon Achane. One's going to be a pass to Hill. Give me one to Jonnu Smith. The other touchdown for Miami will be Raheem Mostert, and then 2 field goals. That gets you to 34. And I think this Dolphins secondary and Dolphins pass rush is going to do a good enough job to handle Trevor Lawrence in this offense. 34-17. That's my prediction. Also, make sure you join us for that watch party on Sunday. Like I said, we're going to be live an hour before kickoff, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Central Time. Dolphins Jaguars, Week 1. I'm getting chills as I speak right now. Make sure you subscribe and join us on Sunday.